polysyllabic. So
-7. God damn it.
no one would understand what the hell he's saying nowadays. They're not capable of understanding Shakespeare nowadays.
No, absolutely.
You got to have an attention span.
Well, speaking of Twitter and who does have a lot to say on Twitter is LeBron James. And there's a company out there that basically looks at your Twitter account and your followers and things like that, and they actually put a worth to your tweets, and it's called Open Doors, and they specialize in digital and social media advertising. They say that a single tweet from LeBron James holds the highest value of any American athlete, nearly $140,000 per tweet.
Wow.
He has 23 million followers, and they say that it would cost you 5 times more money to reach that many people on a TV ad than it would for one tweet from LeBron James.
That's outstanding. That's
so
amazing.
they actually do that. I've heard about this before. That you can actually as a pseudo celebrity, or if you have a couple thousand followers, you can actually look at what your tweets are worth, and I believe you can actually sell your Twitter account, your Twitter handle, to advertising companies to use your Twitter account to reach fans, and they will pay you a certain amount of money for it.
On that note, Caleb, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but in light of the fact that a large majority of our followers are as a result of the constant plugs of Chatterbait and how we keep getting all these porn people following us, did you know that every tweet from the Cranial Mission show is worth
2 blowjobs,
1.5 dildos?
No, I think it's actually more accurate. It's actually worth about 5 tokens on Chatterbait.
Oh, that's pretty
That's
good.
a lot less than 1.5
That's
dildos.
77 cents, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, in this economy, dildos are expensive.
Dildos are expensive.
They are. Not if you're Lord Cheese. You find them in your closet.
And then use them as trophies for fantasy football leagues.
Yeah, and then they're very sticky.
Yeah.
No, I think it was sticky before he made it a trophy.
This article goes on to say they've actually ranked other celebrities or other athletes. Kevin Durant is second with $65,000 per tweet. Rounding out the top 5 are Lakers' Kobe Bryant, worth about $43 per tweet, Floyd Mayweather at about $35, and Dwight Howard at about $35
It's
as well.
interesting that out of the top 5, 4 of the guys you mentioned are basketball players.
Yeah, I actually thought about that when I was reading this article. It may say something about the demographics of Twitter users.
Right.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting to kind of look into.
It sounds like all you Craniacs need to step it up and follow us more so that our tweets
Can be
I
worth
agree
something.
with you, are worth a lot more.
Yeah. You know whose tweets probably aren't worth a whole lot right now? George Zimmerman.
Yeah, probably not.
In the news again.
This story that you brought to my attention, George Zimmerman in the news again. This is the guy, for those that have been living under a rock in the entire world, that aren't aware of the whole Trayvon Martin thing. Obviously, we were acutely aware of this here in the state of Florida because it did occur here.
And you did play George Zimmerman in a movie.
I did, actually, yes.
You
and it was actually
look just like him.
I did, but it was an illustration against George Zimmerman, by the way.
I got that. It was definitely one-sided.
But this guy, there were 2 sides to this at the time. There were people that felt like he was, vindicated for what he did. Look, that whole story, not to get super, racial or political with that whole thing going back to that, but at the time, you could see where both sides had some merit.
Oh, absolutely.
But in light of that, after he was adjudicated from the whole thing, after he was found innocent and let go of the whole thing, since then, he's been involved in so many dubious things. He had the domestic incident after that. He had another illegal incident. And now in the news for this, he's really undoing himself.
He really is. And, I was not necessarily – I'm not a fan or a supporter of him. I am a supporter of the Second Amendment. When I heard the original story of him and Trayvon Martin, looking back at it now, and I've even heard people from all different sides of the story that, Zimmerman probably was in the wrong for doing what he did as far as following, but he was in every legal right to do so. It really went south when an altercation occurred, when violence was brought into it, and it can be debated who started the violence. I think the ruling on Zimmerman was probably correct. However, I think from that point on, he's totally screwed himself. He should have gone inside, shut his door, and lived his life. But the other side of it is, you can't do that. He's obviously a hated man by half of society now. He can't live a normal life, but I do think you're right. I think he's purposely getting himself into stuff. And, that may be a play for him to just say, hey, he's accepting the fact that he can't have a normal life anymore. Maybe he's going on it.
But that's exactly it. It's almost like he's worn this like a badge. You know what I mean? Like, I agree with you.
I'm offended by that because as a Second Amendment supporter, we've talked about my fan of guns and my fan of self-protection. And a lot of people that don't support guns and don't support the Second Amendment will look at Second Amendment supporters and say, oh, you just want to kill somebody. No, that's the last thing I want to do. I hope to God I never have to use my weapon in self-defense. And if I do, I'm going to feel like absolute butt for
But
years.
it's almost
it's not something anybody wants to do. But I think Zimmerman is proving himself here to be just a complete asshat.
He's undermining himself. Like you said,
he is.
It's almost like, you're right. He should have just kind of gone into seclusion. He should have almost gone into a self-imposed witness protection program, if you will.
Yeah.
Instead,
write a book, make $1 million, move to another country.
Instead, it's almost like he
Nobody
decided, you know what, just wear the badge of being an asshole and then exacerbate it. And since then, he's taking it to a higher level. He's taking it to the nth degree. You had the domestic violence incident after the Trayvon Martin killing.
He was involved in a road rage
incident, but which was not the first time with the same guy.
No.
It's the second time with that guy.
And now you have this, and this to me is an all-time low. And not to say, the Trayvon Martin thing was the all-time low, but since then, this is the all-time low.
Because this is out of Inverness, Florida, just short of the area of Bushnell where there's fainting goats, my favorite goat, and Inverness is home of the Cooter Festival.
What the hell are you
just
talking
saying,
about?
It's out of Inverness, Florida, and that's the home of the Cooter Fest.
All right. Well, so back to the story.
Wait, hold on. This random fact of Miguel Hitos brought to you by the Crane Mission Show. But go ahead.
Well, this one, George Zimmerman has actually teamed up with Andy Hillanon, who was the gun shop owner who created a Muslim-free zone, which basically said he banned Muslims from his store. Now he's having legal problems because of that. So they've teamed up to sell Confederate flag artwork to raise money to. They're going to split the money, but most of it is going to go to the legal fees of the gun shop owner who's being sued by all these people. So it's just a simple fact of at one point I think he's a complete asshat. I think they're both complete asshats, but at the same time, I kind of almost have to give them credit for finding a way to milk money out of people.
They're going to milk a lot of money because
they are, absolutely.
The more bullshit press he gets, the more things are going to explode.
Well, I heard something on the radio the other day, and it was a black man who was talking about it, and he was talking about the George Zimmerman thing, and he said, the where it went wrong was when Trayvon Martin made it violent. He actually said, he was just being a thug, and that's up for debate. But he said another thing. He said, I'm not offended by the Confederate flag. People died. He goes, the problem is by banning it and people doing this, we're giving more credence to the people that are using it for the wrong purpose, the people that have the hate and the racism. By banning it, they're actually bringing those people together, just like they're doing here, where you have George Zimmerman and you have this racist asshat. Andy Hillanon, who are joining together to make money off of this. They're doing the same thing the media does.
They're sensationalizing it.
Yeah.
But for all these people out there, since this whole Confederate flag thing went down, and this has been a new revolution. Don't get me wrong.
It's not new at all.
No, it's not new in terms of people have been offended by it, but there's been a new spotlight shown on it because of that mass killing by that redneck kid.
Yeah.
But you have this other side, some of these Southern people that try to say, look, the Confederate flag is misunderstood. It's not racist. You guys, and they defend it.
Yeah.
If you're going to defend this thing and try to portray that it's not racist, are you really going to use a guy like George Zimmerman, who was in a trial for what he was in for, as your advocate? That is a poor choice of representation.
Absolutely. Well, and the fact that the guys created a Muslim-free zone. There are bad apples in every religion. Christianity is known around the world as being probably the first of the mass murderers. I don't think you can stand on anything when that's your backing. And I think it just, like you said, it goes to sensationalize this whole thing. All they're doing is trying to capitalize on it. I'm all for people that are true Southerners and their families were Southerners and they have pride. Southern pride. I don't care about that. I'm a fourth generation Floridian. I'm from the area. I'm Southern, born and raised. I don't support I don't not support, and I don't support the Confederate flag. I don't have really a care either way. But I do think that people that want to support it should be allowed to support it. But I think,
of course.
I think the people that like this are just going to give it a horrible name. They're just dragging it through the mud for their own personal
They're
gain.
the South will rise again people, and I was thinking about that today.
Yeah.
I was like, let me try this on for size. Ready? The North will rise again. Oh wait,
They already
saying.
did. Yeah.
yeah.
Now, one last topic to get into, guys, just to move on real quick. And normally, I mean, we're running a little late, so normally I go to break. But this story is near and dear to our hearts because of the fact that we do broadcast from Tampa, Florida, as we mention every break, because, hey, we like living here in Tampa, Florida.
Born and raised, baby.
I love this city. Tampa now ranks as the #1 city in the Southeast, according to a very prominent magazine.
Yeah, Money Magazine. And it's not only the #1 in the Southeast, it's the top 5 in the
Actually, it ranks because I just didn't shit my pants for the last 20 minutes.
Well, it's going to rank here in Tampa because of that. But no, and explain to the listeners why Tampa ranks as one of the top 5 cities in America.
In America. They rated Tampa because of its robust job market, the affordability of property, the international aspirations with events like the Lightning going to the Stanley Cup playoffs, also Bollywood being here.
Yeah, that was a huge event.
Yeah. You've got the college national championships going to be here in 2017. So Tampa's really done a lot to come up from this. And you know, I work down in the city of Tampa, and I've had the opportunity to...
Well, you're in downtown Tampa.
Downtown Tampa. Yeah, I've had the opportunity to meet Mayor Bob Buckhorn, and I got to say the guy's done just a hell of a job. You know, we have the city walk, the river walk just opened up. It's fantastic to go down there. If you guys haven't been down there, go take a walk down on the river walk. It's really cool to see.
Well, real quick, I know Miggy, you got something to say, but actually Bob Buckhorn, just to make a correction, Bob Buckhorn was not the one that set up City Walk.
No, I know he wasn't, but
that was actually Mayor Pam Maurio that did that.
She was a heck of a mayor.
She was actually the one that did that. Bob Buckhorn, by the way, I grew up with as a kid. I've known him since I was 12, 13 years old. Very nice guy.
He's
extremely
nice guy. He's a politician through and through. When he meets
Yeah.
you, he wants to meet you. He wants to shake your
But
hand.
he's a genuinely nice guy.
He is a nice guy.
Minus
And
the red light camera deals that he's been pulling.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he was the one behind the Riverwalk, but he's done a lot to help piggyback on Iorio's work on
Yes.
finishing it, completing it.
Yeah.
You know, I've even heard, you know, in one of the newspapers here that I absolutely can't stand, the Tampa Bay Times, or the TBT, which is now the Tampa Bay Times.
Which is a dumbed-down newspaper.
Yeah. Well, even their parent newspaper.
It's like, I saw one the other day. It was like 3 sheets of paper on a
Oh,
Monday.
it's
I was like,
horrible!
what
It's
the
horrible. They look for anything they can to blast something. It's
a soundbite.
They are full sensationalists, and I can't stand them. And one of the things that they knocked Mayor Buckhorn because he committed to trying to increase and improve the streetcar line in Tampa, and they said, well, he said he was going to do that 2 years ago and hasn't done it yet. You know, it takes time to do things like this. But I will say the guy has done a hell of a job, and you're right, piggybacking off of Pam Iorio's work.
Well, and this is a city, guys, that, you know, as you guys know, I've worked in the commercial real estate industry for a long time. I grew up in the business here. My dad's been doing it for 40 years. This was a city, just like many in Florida, that their entire economy was based on tourism.
Yeah.
And Tampa and Florida in general, historically, is a boom or bust economy. And the reason is because it's subsistent on tourism. Well, you know, what they're talking about now in this article is we're finally trying to step away from that and create a legitimate economy based on other businesses. Case in point, Amazon coming down here. That was a big deal.
It'll be one of the largest warehouses in the world.
Well, it's already open now,
Yeah, there's 2 of them.
You've
There's
got
one in Lakeland and one in Ruskin.
They cite
Ruskin, yeah.
They cite in this article Bristol Myers Squibb now down here. So you're starting to attract some real industry down here, and that's what Tampa needs.
We talked about the other day off air about the beer can building, Rivergate Tower, just being sold for, you know, it's getting back up to the good prices. It's
for a second time.
The building down, the 2 buildings downtown?
The beer can building.
Oh, you talking about the one that looks like the Tower of Pisa right on the water?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was just recently sold, and they cited in the article that it's the only building, only high-rise in downtown that has 100,000 square feet left. I mean, everything is rented out. Parking is horrible downtown now.
Yeah. I mean, Caleb may or may not work in that building. But that is the second time that building sold since December, by the way.
And it is not leaning. It does not lean, so
no,
don't get nervous.
It's but we have huge parking issues downtown now because there's more businesses moving in, more industry coming around, and they're citing this year that the unemployment rate in Tampa is 5.6%, which is really low. And they're saying that the drop